time is right, you'll know. I'm Rob Murgatroyd, and I can hear the voice inside your head from here. You're ready for your next chapter, but you're unclear on what that looks like and how to make it happen. On the Next Chapter podcast, you'll be inspired to let go of your current identity and shift into a brand new chapter of your life that makes you feel alive. The struggles you're facing now will be substantiated by success stories that'll feel like your own. You'll walk away with tangible strategies backed by experiential evidence that will bring your next chapter to life. Your next chapter is achievable, and it's closer than you think. Welcome back to the Next Chapter podcast. As I mentioned in my last episode, these first couple of episodes will be sequential. So if you haven't listened to episode 1, head back over and give it a quick listen so that you're all caught up. All right, before we begin, this episode will require maybe 10 to 15 minutes of brainstorming time with a pad and a pen. You really should not do these exercises in your head. There's something about paper and pen that just allows these ideas to flow better. And today, we're going to help you get clear on what you want because clarity precedes momentum. Let me say that again. Clarity precedes momentum. Our goal with this episode is to begin the process of building out your next chapter vision. That's what we call it, your next chapter vision. This is to say, what is the vision that you want for your life and business, let's say in the next 1 to 2 years? When this process is over, you'll have a one-page document that you can use as a North Star to keep you clearly on track to realizing the dream life that you're after. So I'm going to ask you 2 or 3 questions. And today I want to begin the exercise by asking the first question, which is the most basic, most simple, and it's the one that everybody has the biggest trouble with. Ready? What do you want? Write down the first thing that popped in your head when I just said that. What do you want? And if what popped in your head was what you don't want, write that down too, and we'll talk about why that's important later. Now that you have that answer, we're going to move on to the second question. What are the things that you are most passionate about? Write down anything. Stamp collecting, Matchbox cars, whatever it is, write it down. Write them all down. This is going to give you a sense for the areas that you would really love to be spending more time doing. Now, they may wind up just being hobbies. They may wind up being an actual vocation, but write them down. Next question. If you had absolutely no limits, what would you choose to have, be, and do over the next 1 to 2 years? Don't get too literal on this. Don't go, is that a have? Is that a be? Do I want to be an author? Do I want to do an author? That sounded weird. What do I want? Write it down. I would love to have a new career. I would love to be living in a warm climate. I would love to do some traveling to Asia. Just have, be, or do. We're just trying to uncork, unlock, release some of the ideas that maybe some cobwebs in your head. The idea really is to get like a 60,000-foot view and just see what pops up for you. Let's do one more question. For the last question, I want to come back to the idea of what you don't want. What do you not want? In other words, what are you tired of, bored of, sick of, etc.? Put on some Alanis Morissette, get angry, and write those things down. And then flip it. For example, I didn't want to be a chiropractor anymore. As I mentioned in the last episode, if one more person told me their neck or back hurts, I was going to shoot myself. So that was easy for me. What do I not want? I don't want to be a chiropractor anymore. Just knowing that left space to begin the conversation of what I did want. So if you're driving down the road in a race car, you definitely want to know where you're going, and you don't want to look at the guardrails because you'll crash into them. But you need to know that there's a guardrail there to crash into. So you don't look at it, but you need to know it's there. That's what the answer to what you don't want is, or that's how it serves you. All right. Now I want you to look at all those answers. and see if there are some themes that are beginning to emerge here that you can see. Pick out 2 or 3 things that stand out to you on this list of answering these 3 or 4 questions. And look at the ones that feel really fun, really exciting, give you a little tingle when you think about them. Write them down on a blank piece of paper, 2 or 3 things, and circle them. We're going to use those 2 or 3 things as seeds to begin our next chapter vision. All right, so let me talk about this one-page document now that you have that exercise completed. When my wife and I were reimagining our life, the vision for our next chapter came in flashes. There were flashes of images. For example, I saw myself walking on cobblestone streets in Florence. And that was all I had. I didn't have much more than that. Then as my subconscious went to work, it started to add a few more pictures. Well, I see my family walking our daughter Sophia to the bus stop to begin her day of education in the rolling hills of Tuscany. And so I wrote that down. And in about a month of reading and adding to that vision every morning for about 15 minutes with a cup of coffee, I had my vision completed. It took maybe a month, maybe 2 months, somewhere in there. But basically my process was I woke up, got a cup of coffee. Before I did anything, I opened my laptop and I spent 15 minutes just reading a sentence or 2 of my vision and see what hit me. And usually once I started to train my brain, my subconscious knew what was happening, and I would get like another sentence or 2. And before long, those flashes of exciting imagery started to emerge into a full page. And when I read it, I got excited. I had absolutely no idea how it was going to happen. But the key is to not get bogged down with the details of reverse engineering the how. It's not time for that. This time is all about going super high level and dreaming. So if your brain is having trouble with writing this, another technique is to just ask yourself, wouldn't it be cool if? Just write that down at the top of the page in the morning when you do this 15 minutes. It's a simple way to get past the limiting beliefs that may pop up while you're trying to uncork this genie. Just write down, wouldn't it be cool if, like, I lived in Italy? That's what I did. Wouldn't it be cool if I didn't even need a car and I could just walk everywhere? Stuff like that. Don't be too precious with it. Just start to get the ideas out and onto paper. In the next episode, I'm going to break down how we got ourselves into momentum using what's called a push goal that I learned from Chalene Johnson. It was a really, really powerful thing that allowed me to get into momentum of creating this dream that I had on this one-page next chapter vision. And I'll explain exactly what the push goal is and why it was so powerful and exactly how to do it. It would really mean the world to me if you take a second to leave a 5-star review, because that really, really helps get this message out to the world so we can help more people step into their next chapter. All right, that's it for today. I will see you on the next episode, and we're going to talk about your push goal. The next step in your next chapter: rate and review this podcast. This is one small way to cause a ripple effect and help other people just like you move into their next chapter.